Hey friends, Ari Koinuma here, and here's a quick video with an impactful songwriting recipe. And today we're going to look at this minor 2 chord. Minor 2 chord, let's say we're in the key of E, right? The minor 2 chord will be an F sharp minor. And the minor 2 chord is kind of like a weakening, but like weakening is not the right word because it has kind of negative connotation, but it's a softening and poignant chord in a major key. It just has this sort of a, so you start out strong and happy, right? And then immediately when you hear this F sharp in the context of E, it just sounds, it just has a softening effect, right? So let's say that we're trying to create a chord progression, and we're going back to the home chord of E, right? So something like 1 4 5, it sounds like this. So something like that has a really classic sound to it, and it has a sense of finality. When you get back to the E, it sounds like, you know, you arrived and that's the end, right? What I played is E and then A and B7, dominant 7. It doesn't have to be a dominant 7, right? That sounds like a nice, you know, pop punk song. Now let's see. Instead of going from 1 4 5 and 1, let's try going 1 5 4 1. So E, B as in boy, A as in apple. So that has a much more, how should I say, less sort of that sort of a conclusive sort of feel to it. It's called cadence in music theory, but when you go from it doesn't sound quite as final, and we sometimes want that in the song, right? Now instead of going to 5 4 1, let's try going 5 2 1. So that sounds even less sort of definitive as a sort of a phrase or section ending. When you, as soon as you hear this chord again, I really think this is a sort of poignant sound. When you want to sort of convey the mood, it has maybe a sense of nostalgia or a bit of a longing. Unrequited love, just something that is wispy and sensitive, and it just doesn't have that sort of that more happy, sort of open kind of sound of 4 and 5 chords. And that is something that we might desire. It just sounds a lot more colorful and less predictable than the other chords. So again, when you start out strong, you know, you think of major chord as something that's really happy, but then as soon as you hit the 2 chord, it just has this nuance to it, right? So when I was fooling around with this, I wrote this chord progression really quick. So that sounds really, sort of poppy and up tempo, but then just having it centered around the minor 2 chord, it just also has a certain sensitivity to it. It's just not exactly, all sort of shiny and happy. It just there's a shade to it, and it gives you a sense of subtlety and yeah, depth to the songwriting, and I think this is a chord that you can use. Now we're talking in terms of the context of major key. You can also use it in minor. Now that sounds even more ambiguous, and now that has a very different sort of a feel to it, and that's E minor to F sharp minor is not exactly in the key of E minor, and it just has an unexpectedness to it. So it's a very, very different sound, and maybe I'll explore that more here. But so today we talked about minor 2 chord in the context of a major key, and how that you can call that a poignant chord. You can use that to accompany perhaps a poignant lyrics, right? So that's it today. I hope you got something useful out of this, and that I'll see you next time. Thanks.